Well, making headlines this week, actor Matthew Newton has been accused of hitting his girlfriend. It's certainly not the first time a celebrity has been in the papers for domestic violence.
They're the rich, the famous, the celebrated, living lifestyles we can only imagine. And each of these men has been accused of bashing their partners. In 2006, Matthew Newton pleaded guilty to hitting actress Brooke Satchwell, a conviction that was later overturned, the judge stating he has the utmost respect for women. Last week, girlfriend Rachel Taylor applied for an AVO on Newton following 2 alleged assaults. His fall from grace complete as he was axed from the plum role of X Factor host. We know violence of any kind is not okay, but if celebs can hit their partners and continue to enjoy the spotlight, is it time we re-examine just who deserves our adulation?
For her thoughts, we cross to Dr. Melanie Heenan, VicHealth's manager of preventing domestic violence. She joins us now at the desk. Now, Melanie, it seems like celebrities get off easier in this kind of cases, but do they?
Well, in this context, actually, they're not special. The fact is that they are like many other perpetrators of domestic violence or sexual assault, in that the system really struggles still to deal with those issues. And the community perception, and I understand why they hold this perception, is that violence against women isn't being treated very seriously still by the legal system.
I guess it kind of feels like, though, you know, their standing in society and their money and celebrity status does kind of help them a bit, though. Yeah,
I mean, it probably helps them to get some better legal representation, or, you know, the systems around them. Yes, they might get access to the best of that, but they're still subject to the same laws and procedures. There's no question about that. And I suppose the difficulty that we face with this issue is that so few women still even report sexual assault or domestic violence or family violence. Very, very few result in police, you know, going forward with a case. And it's certainly very, very few result in convictions. So the fact that in this particular case there was a plea of guilty meant that the particular woman didn't have to go through that process. So Brooke, the first partner, didn't have to go through that process with Matthew Newton. But nonetheless, there's still, you know, a very high, what we call an attrition rate in these cases. So it's not unusual to that extent.
I suppose one of the things that really concerns me is after the first incident with Matthew Newton, went on to get the plum roll in Underbelly. Charlie Sheen renegotiated a massive fee after he was found guilty. What is this boost in their career? What's that message sending?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a really unfortunate message, because I think, you know, the TV industry has a real opportunity to tell or to speak to the community about how seriously it takes this issue. And I think as an employer, you know, we would certainly, those of us that work in this field, would like them to take a different view and perhaps to send a message by not employing people who have, men in particular, who have perpetrated domestic violence.
It seems ridiculous that even in a case like this, that, you know, no publicity can be, you know, or bad publicity is still good publicity. It's just, it's crazy. I mean, when are TV stations, or when are people in general just going to get the message?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's not the case, that any publicity is considered good publicity, and especially in this context. I mean, I think the community is telling us more and more that this is an issue that they take very seriously. They know that it happens commonly. So, you know, again, if that's good publicity because it's any publicity, I think that's really unfortunate. I think it does send a terrible message. Yeah. And if, you know, I think if the TV industry is still like a workplace, as an employer, they have a real obligation, like any workforce, to really deal with this issue extremely seriously.
There are some reports coming through tonight that Matthew and Rachel were actually engaged in Rome, and also that there are photos of Rachel Taylor that we haven't seen yet, that are yet to come out. I remember when we saw the horrible pictures of Rihanna when they came out. How much does seeing those images actually sort of affect public opinion?
Well, I think they do affect public opinion in a really profound way, because they're the most kind of visual expression of violence against women, even though it does take a range of forms. So most people would now know that physical violence is a very serious but perhaps the most visible form of violence, but we know it also takes other forms. It can be sexual violence, it can be emotional violence, it can be even economic abuse, where women are denied access to the resources within the family, just to their finances. But definitely those images, I think, send a really frightening message to the community that women are being harmed in their own homes by the person that is meant to love them and care for them.
Well, if you do want